Hello, everyone. My name is Jack Milko, and I am here to look at a media ethics case study that examines ESPN, Higgins, and the NFL draft. Every spring, there are 256 players drafted to the NFL. ESPN broadcasts the draft annually, and the network makes a big deal in doing so. Whenever a player hears their name called, ESPN will show that particular player's highlight packages. With the highlights rolling, ESPN's announcers will break down the game film and provide some insight into who the player is and what he brings to that particular team. For most players, being drafted to the NFL is the greatest day of their life. It certainly was for Marquise Hollywood Brown, who was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens with a 25th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. The Ringer's draft expert, Danny Kelly, wrote that Brown is a breakaway threat from anywhere on the field. And terms like home run and terrifying seem to populate every examination of his game. ESPN announcers echoed these sentiments on the broadcast as well. A year after Brown was drafted, the Cincinnati Bengals selected wide receiver T. Higgins with the 33rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Higgins was a highly sought-after prospect considering he stands at 6'4". As such, before the draft, ESPN's Mel Kiper labeled Higgins as an instant red zone threat with elite ball skills. So after showing Higgins' highlight tape, ESPN displayed the following graphic. The first three items listed here are nice bits of knowledge, but the last item is somewhat interesting and certainly crosses ethical boundaries. Many observers of the NFL draft that night were angry that ESPN would expose these skeletons in the closet. So let's compare Higgins' info card to that of Hollywood Brown's. ESPN included some nice tidbits about Brown's life, such as that he has a cousin who also plays in the NFL. But this information was not as revealing when drawing a comparison to what was displayed when Higgins heard his name called. So the ethical question is it appropriate for ESPN to display such personal information? Should ESPN be allowed to reveal one's troubling past? Perhaps it's an issue that still persists in that individual's life and they are still working to overcome that problem. And of course, just like anything else in life, there needs to be consent. Did ESPN and the athletes have mutual consent and understanding that this information be brought about to a public viewing? Based on this tweet, in which Higgins defended his mother vehemently and showed nothing but love and support for her, it seems as if ESPN did have Higgins' consent. With that said, however, it is difficult to tell if there was actually an agreement between the two sides to make this information public. So the ultimate question here is, would you put that information on the telecast? Could this information help the greater good? Well, there are millions of individuals who suffer from drug addiction, and perhaps seeing someone triumph this disease could help an individual see the light at the end of their own tunnel. Or should ESPN have stuck to football? Or perhaps they should have included other trivial information, such as how many touchdowns he caught during his junior year at Clemson. All of these questions are so important. First, we need to remember that NFL draft prospects, and athletes for that matter, are human beings. Every single one of us has had to battle some level of adversity in our lives. That's not an opinion, that's a reality of human nature. Secondly, we need to be mindful of people's loved ones and their own feelings. This relates back to the previous point in that athletes are not robots or idols. As journalists, especially those of us that want to go into sports media, we need to remember that the athletes we cover and the subjects that we have are human beings, especially in the digitalized, hyper-partisan world that we live in today.